Happy New Year. No, it's Merry New Year. Jeepers, sorry. I don't know where my brain went for a second. Merry New Year. Guess what movie I watched last night? Oh, how does Eddie Murphy say? Merry New Year. I'm not very good with the accents, but there you go. Hope you all had a super fantastic sparkling New Year's Day. Hope you had a great celebration yesterday. We had a very noisy one yesterday. I got quite concerned about it at times because I'm pretty sure amongst the fireworks there were also guns being shot off as well. But we had the noise going on for over 6 hours. Zeph and I had just gotten back from the walk. In fact, I think I talked about it last night on the podcast. We had just gone back from the walk, literally closed the door, and the fireworks started. They did not stop until 12:20 this morning. Yes, that's why I've got suitcases under my eyes, because the night before I was awake at 3:30 and basically went until 12:20 this morning before I finally got some sleep. I did have a couple of little naps in there along the way. And today again, I'll be... There is this... I've got to figure out what phone... meet me in the media center, it's called. And she's on TikTok, and she's a school librarian in a middle school. And she is absolutely delightful. I absolutely relate to her. Totally love the stuff that she does. But she does the return game, and it's like she brings in books that have been returned. And if it dings, it's on time. If it bongs, it's late. And if it twinkles, it's got a note. No, it's on hold. And then there's another sound that means that there's a note for it as well. So we're trying to see how many twinkles that she can get during the twinkle sounds that she can get when she's returning the book. So she'll hold the book up, scan it, we wait for the noise, and then she goes, it's on time. And then she makes these piles of on time, late, and the holds go over here. How many holds can we get rid of, and that sort of stuff. And then she'll even come across the books that need repairing as well, and they go in the to-do pile. But we try to she's trying to see if we can get, basically the game is how many holds can we clear, how many late books can we get returned. And she's just absolutely delightful. And then she also does these unboxings as well, where people donate books to her library and everything else. And she's just absolutely delightful. How did I get onto her? I have no idea. What does she have to do with New Year's? I was watching her this morning, and it was on a loop. I fell asleep while watching it. That's what it was. I was sitting on the couch. I was holding my phone in my hand. I was giving myself 5 minutes. I didn't put the timer on. So I'm just going to watch 3 or 4 videos, and then that's it. I'm done. And yeah, this particular one kept looping, and she was doing the return game. I can't tell you the results at the end of that one because I woke up and went, what the heck's going on here? And just banged out of everything. So that was fine. But the cool part is that with me selling everything, I was talking, we're on our way back today, and the next door neighbor was out, and he asked me about Brad's golf clubs because he knew that I had them. We'd talked about it a couple of months ago. And I said, yeah, I was going to get rid of them at some point. And so I was asking about them. I said, yeah, come on over and have a look. I said, I'm in the process of getting them ready to sell. And so we're sitting there, and he's got things, and he's 6 foot. And Brad's golf clubs have extended shafts on them because he was 6'5", and so they needed to make the shafts longer so he could swing the clubs more comfortably and in the right posture and everything. And so he tried them, and he's sort of like, yeah, these have been extended, haven't they? I went, yeah. I said, my husband was 6'5", and they've all been extended. So that's one of the selling points of these things. Because I'm actually looking for and she was actually looking for golf clubs for his daughters. And I turned around and I says, well, there's my golf clubs right there, and I'm thinking of selling those as well. I said, it's a complete set. There's 12 clubs in there. There's 3 woods. There's 3 woods, 8 irons, a wedge, and a putter. Does it equal 12? There's 12 clubs in there in total. I think that's 12. 7 irons. Hang on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 7 irons, a pitching wedge, a putter, and 3 woods. There's 12. And it comes in a bag. And I discovered today the bag has a hood that goes over top of the clubs. I did not know golf bags came with hoods for clubs. And so I was just like, this is later on in the afternoon. And he said, well, how much do you want for those? And I said, well, I haven't priced them yet to see what they would be worth. I cannot find this particular make and model anywhere that has 12 clubs. I can find 10 with no bag. But I'm selling mine with a bag And it's also got a traveling bag because Brad used to belong to the PGA Tour Partners Club. He was a lifetime member for that. I signed him up for it for a birthday one year. And he got magazines like once a month, and he got all these goodies sent to him because he was a life member. And one of them was this traveling bag that you put your golf bag in and strap it in there, and it's all padded around the top, around where the heads of the golf clubs are and all that. And you put your hood thing on top, which I discovered today. I'm pulling this thing out of the pocket going, what the heck is this? Oh. And I looked at the top of the bag and went, oh, that's what it is. So, yeah, he told me to come up with a price and we'll talk about it then. And so I says, okay. And so, yeah, we're going to go and give him a price and let him know and see if he still wants to take them and all that. But he got them out and had a look at them and says, these are in really good condition. I said, they've hardly been used, to be honest. I said, Brad bought them for me so I could learn how to play golf, so I could go out and play golf with him. I said, I never got on the golf course with him. I said, we only ever went to the hitting range together because when he played golf, it was on a Wednesday with his work, and they were off on some military base golf course, so I couldn't go. But they had access to go for their golf club and things like that. And so I said, so I never actually got to play a round of golf with those ones. I said, I've only ever played one round of golf in my entire life. And I said, I scored a 72. And I said, on 9 holes. I always pause. I got a 72 on my first round of golf on 9 holes. I know 72 is like at par for 18 holes. So, yeah. And that's the only one and only ever time I've ever played golf. But that was years before I met Brad. But I don't even think I didn't even have a boyfriend at the time. But anyway. So, yeah, I said, so the only time they've ever been used is out there on the range, just hitting balls. That's all. And I've showed them the other golf cup. And they're going with the bag. There's like 4 packs of 3-ball boxes. It's got women's written on them. I don't know what the difference. And he says, I thought they were interchangeable balls. I says, obviously not, because these ones have got women labels on them. And there's this box of pastels, which is like there were 16 golf balls in that one that were all different pastel colors. I said, they've all got women's written on it. And I said, there's these 4 boxes in here with 3 balls in each box. They've all got women written on it. So those will all be going. So I cleaned out the bag of everything that was in there of mine and found a coin purse full of coins for the ball machine. When we went to hit balls, we had to drop the coins in to get our bucket of balls, and then we could go hit them. So I found my coin purse for that, and it was full. So I was like, oh, found money, yay! And then I was like, oh, somewhere. And then I've got my 2 piggy. I got 2 pigs that I put money in, put spare change in as well. And I'm like, I need to find the coin wrappers. They're in a box somewhere. I did have them in the RV at some point. And I had sorting trays. You just put the coins in at the top and just shake it, and it would sort down to the lower levels. And so I know I have those wrappers in it, and it was somewhere in the RV, which means that it's going to be in one of the boxes that I pulled out of the RV, I think. Unless it's in the drawer that I still haven't emptied, in the couple of drawers I haven't, emptied in the RV yet, because I still have 2 drawers to do. Maybe we'll go do that this weekend. But yeah, so I was like, oh, found money. Yay! So what else did we do today? Yeah, it was just sorting boxes and apparently napping, falling asleep while watching a TikTok video. Go figure. But yeah, sorting boxes. And what else did we do today, Zeffy? That was about it. Went for a walk this morning, went for a walk this evening, and here we are. So what are your New Year's resolutions for 2025? Welcome to 2025. Let's see. What questions can we ask you tonight? I had one somewhere. Where is it? There it is. What New Year's resolution could bring you closer to your family history or heritage this year? So what could you do for that? Well, that's an interesting thing. I just got to look something up because I've got something written in front of me on my notes and I've got no idea what it is. So we'll have a look at this. So did you know that New Year's resolutions goes all the way back? And we're talking back into Babylonian times. Yes. The Babylonian times. Oh my gosh. Okay, where did my notes go? Sorry, I'm just quickly looking for my notes. So, yeah, the origin the New Year's resolutions actually originated with the Babylonians and the Romans, and it was tied to the gods and the promise of good fortune. Hang on, I saw something here that was in my notes, and now I can't find what I was looking for in my notes. But yeah, it all goes back to, oh, there it is. So, resolutions date back over 4,000 years ago to the Babylonians, who made promises to their god, to their gods during Akitu, which was their New Year celebration. The Romans adopted a similar practice, making vows to Janus, the two-faced god of beginnings and endings. So that was how resolutions started. I didn't realize it went back that long until I looked it up. And then in the Middle Ages, the knights took the peacock vow at the end of Christmas season to reaffirm their commitment to chivalry. I was like, that sounds. So I had to go look up more about, the peacock. I had to look up peacock vow because I thought, well, that's an interesting thing to come across. It was a medieval New Year's resolution tradition rooted in chivalry and knightly customs. Originated during the late Middle Ages, this ritual involved knights renewing their oaths of chivalry for the upcoming year. The vow was often made in a ceremonial setting, sometimes during a feast or a banquet, with great fanfare and symbolism. Yes. The symbolism of the ceremony included a roasted peacock, or sometimes a pheasant or a swan, was decorated with its plumage and served as the centerpiece of the ceremony. Knights would lay their hands on the bird and recite their vows. You laid your hands on a roasted peacock, and then you probably went and ate it after everybody had handled it. Ugh. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. The reason that they used the peacock was it represented immortality, pride, and beauty, making it an apt symbol for knights reaffirming their commitment to honor and valor. Its vibrant feathers and regal demeanor tied into ideals of chivalric excellence. The knights would pledge to uphold their duties, such as protecting the weak, serving their lord faithfully, and defending justice and the righteousness. In some cases, they might vow to complete a specific quest or atone for past failures. After their vows, the occasion would turn festive, with feasting, music, and storytelling to mark the start of the new year. Still can't get over they put their hands on the roasted bird and then they go and eat it afterwards. Trust me, after doing food safety and sanitation classes in hospitality management, when you're in school and you get to see some of the videos and things about what you should and shouldn't do with food, I realized this was back in the Middle Ages. I totally get it. But my brain just went to there with all of these hands on top of this bird. You don't know where those hands have been. Had they cleaned their hands? Had they not cleaned their hands? This bird has just been covered in knightly hands. I don't know how many knights would be involved in this ceremony, but who knows what was on their hands. And then they go and eat the bird afterwards. I'm like, oh, yeah. I realize times were different. I totally get that and I appreciate it. But it was just the thought of, they wouldn't have known about that back then anyway. So it really doesn't matter. It's just with the knowledge that we have today, that would have been like, I'm not touching that bird. Yep, nope, not doing that. Oh, yeah. So modern resolutions, the evolution of resolutions from communal commitments to personal self-improvement goals. You can have genealogical connections, investigating ancestral records or writings for clues about resolutions or goals that your ancestors may have set. People who were, if you had ancestors who were into journaling or writing, they may have written down their New Year's resolutions. What did they have in there? Anything of a surprise. So incorporating family heritage into modern resolutions, such as honoring traditions or researching family history, is a good thing. You never know what you're going to find. You might find some old goal list that one of your ancestors had. And then the cool part is, if you do find that they had these resolutions, see if you can find out through your research if they accomplished those resolutions. How would you know? Well, if it was like to start a business, look for business listings and census reports and what else? Newspapers, journals that they may have had that would help you tell that. So family accountability would be that families would historically help each other stay true to their vows. And so how can we revive that practice today? So if they turn around and said this, they've got their list of resolutions that they want to accomplish that year, what resolutions were on there and how did they accomplish them? Did they accomplish them? And they would have been accountable to their family to hold up their word. So maybe we should start trying that again, being accountable to members in our family and things. That would be a good one. Create resolutions for your genealogy, like organizing family records, solving a genealogical mystery, or connecting with distant relatives. Maybe it's doing a DNA test. Maybe you haven't done a DNA test yet. Maybe that's on your resolution for this year. Look back over your 2024 accomplishments, both personal, genealogical, business, whatever sense it is in, and see where you're at. Where were you at the beginning of 2024? Where were you at the end of 2024? What can you take from 2024 into 2025 to help you have an awesome year? So, see, it all connects and everything else. You could do things like create a time capsule for 2024, share stories at family gatherings, have fun, do family-oriented games, do a bingo game. Remember we talked about that a couple of weeks ago on one of the calls. So there's lots of different creative ways that you can put resolutions in there. Maybe you've got a family reunion coming up. Maybe one of the resolutions is organizing some fun activities for the reunion coming up. So go back. We have a episode we did. When did we do that one? Was that the one we did all of the... Yeah, it was episode number 1968, a creative spin on family history. So on that one, we talked about different activities you could do, like a bingo game, creating a game on family history, doing the thing of baby pictures, who's in this picture. So think of things like that you want to do when you come up to organizing if you're responsible for organizing activities for your family reunion that may be coming up this year. Maybe there's people who have milestone birthdays or anniversaries this year in 2025. How can you make it extra special using your genealogical skills? Maybe it's giving them a copy of their family tree, just the direct route without all the aunts and uncles and cousins and everything, but just the direct family tree. Maybe it's doing that for them. Maybe it's finding something in history that relates to something that particular person celebrating their milestone birthday is interested in. Maybe they're interested in archery, and looking back through the records and stuff, you find that you had an ancestor who was a champion archer. Maybe you could find some stories about that you could pass on to this family member who's celebrating a milestone birthday. Find these stories. Go find stories for people for their milestone birthdays, their wedding anniversaries, things like that, and see what things you can come up with. One cool thing my parents almost killed me over this one. One cool thing I did when my parents celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary is they were actually away for a couple of weeks before their anniversary. So I still had the key to their house. So I ran over to their house. I grabbed all of their wedding pictures because I knew where they were kept. And I found pictures of all the houses they'd lived in over the years. And I took them into work. And in work, we had a color copier. And we were talking back in, this would have been in 95. Yeah, 95. 95. Yes, because next year they celebrate their 60th. And I've already told them I am not planning any surprises for them for that one. I keep wanting to, but I'm sort of like, nope. I have things I have to do here before I go down there. And by the time I get down there, their anniversary would have already been passed. And so I'm going to be good. I'm going to stick to the plan to get us down to New Zealand. That's it. But anyway, so what I did is I went and got their wedding photos, got them all color copied. And because color copying actually worked better on bought out black and white photographs a lot better. We did have some color photographs for their wedding. I also found copies of photos of every house they'd ever lived in. And so we did this big display in the hall where we held their thing. And we had these all the houses they lived in. And I had the years underneath each one. And I think I had the years under each one. And then I had all of their wedding photos on display. And believe it or not, at their 30th wedding anniversary, there was my mum's aunt. So my great aunt was there because she was there at their wedding. There was my mum's cousin, who was my great aunt's daughter, who was their flower girl at the wedding. So we actually had somebody from the wedding party there as well. We tried to get as many people as we could. And then there were these very good family friends that family friends of my grandparents who were at my parents' wedding. And what nobody knew, except for those of us who had organized it, was that we had a limo coming at a certain time that was then going to take my parents to the Oriental Bay, the hotel that was on Oriental Bay that overlooked the harbour of Wellington. So the harbour's here, footpath, road, hotel. It was there, and every room had a view. Every room had a balcony, and we had arranged for friends to pick up mum and dad. They had a movie picked out they were going to go and see. It was just going to be like a couple's evening out, a double date. These two married couples were going to go on a double date, and so they were going to help us get them to the church hall. We were having everything all set up and everything, and I had figured out my parents' timetable for the day. So as soon as one thing was done, my aunt and I, who was not supposed to be in town, we went to my parents' place. We packed them an overnight bag, and my aunt says, "Hang on." She says, "I've waited." Hang on, how many years had she waited? She had waited a number of years, because back when my uncle got married to my aunt, to his wife who became my aunt at the time, her sister brought over this huge box of frangipanis from Rarotonga, which is in the Cook Islands. And if you've never had frangipani, it is a very fragrant tropical flower. Now, they use these frangipanis in the wedding bouquets, in the boutonnieres. At every place setting at the reception, there was a little spray with the frangipanis in them. They were put into the centerpieces. Any floral arrangement had these frangipanis in. And it was a pretty big box. And there was probably still about half of the frangipanis still left in the box. So my cousin and I decided that when my aunt and uncle went into the bedroom to get changed out of their wedding gear into their going away gear, my cousin and I would take handfuls of frangipanis, and we made a path from the bedroom door out into the living room area, and just this nice little path with these little piles of frangipanis and all that. While we were doing that, my mum and dad are grabbing handfuls of the frangipanis and stuffing them into my uncle's overnight bag. My uncle had his going away bag there, and it was by the front door ready to go. And my parents are stuffing frangipanis into his bag and amongst all of his clothing. We actually got, and everything went off fine. The bride and groom went off fine, except for they needed to have their cars washed. And we were back at the motel where we were, and they pulled up in their car, and somebody had drizzled, was it golden syrup or honey over there? It was a sticky mess. It took ages to clean it up. And so my dad went to the hotel place. We weren't actually staying at that hotel. We were staying somewhere else. But my grandmother had a room at that hotel where we kind of all congregated, and explained the situation. And they said, you can have as much hot water as you want. Here's some buckets, here's some sponges, here's some car wash stuff, and here's the hoses. And so my dad and his brother and my uncle, my aunt's husband, got out there and got this car washed and cleaned for them while we entertained the bridal couple inside, and then they went off on their way. Still hadn't opened their hers overnight bag yet. We happened to bump into them the next day when they were out walking around town. My uncle was not happy. His clothes reeked of frangipanis. For years, my cousin and I had been blamed for it, until my aunt discovered that it wasn't actually my cousin and I that did that. It was my dad and my mom. So my aunt lays out my mother's nightgown, pulls out a box of confetti, and sprinkles this box of confetti down the length of my mother's nightgown, rolls it up, ties it in a knot, puts it into the overnight bag along with all of their toiletries, their underwear, their PJs and all that, and clean change of clothes for the next day, and then sprinkles 2 boxes of confetti into there and mixes it all up into their bag. So we take this bag with us. We then drive into Wellington and go to the hotel, get my parents checked in. So we get the keys, we go up to the room, we've got a basket. We had a fruit basket there for them, and we had some fruit basket and some other stuff. But we couldn't leave the room untouched. So we short sheeted their bed. And if you've never short sheeted anybody's bed, it's basically taking the top sheet. So the bottom sheet's on there. You can do it with the bottom or the top sheet, but with fitted sheets, it works best with the top sheet. So you take the top sheet, you instead of it going all the way down the foot of the bed, you bring it up so that it tucks underneath the pillows and tuck it all in. And so when they go to get into bed, their feet hit the fold in the sheet. Everything else looks completely normal, but you've taken that top sheet and you've folded it up. So you kind of got this kind of shape, and it goes up under the pillows and tucks in, and they go to jump into bed and they can't get into bed because it's been short sheeted. And so my mum's in the bathroom at the time, and my dad's goes to jump into bed, and he screamed out. And my mum's like, what's happened? He goes, they short sheeted the bed. This is what we found out the next day. So they all went off in the limo fine. We gave the driver their overnight bag and that, and said, give this to them when they get to the hotel. I said, Mum, Dad, here's your room key for the night. You're checked in. Here's your room, and gave them the envelope with the room key in it, with their room number on it. And I said, the driver's going to take you to your hotel for the night. And they're like, where are we going? I said, you're going to a hotel in Wellington. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. But here's your room key. You're already checked in. You don't even need to stop there. You just need to go and get on the elevators and go up to this floor and go to this room number. And they're like, oh. And then, of course, they were all like super surprised and everything else. But there was a couple there who had seen my parents off at their wedding 30 years beforehand. And she said to me, she says, how late is this going to go? So I told her about the limo coming, and she's like, well, wait. She said, we saw them off on their wedding 30 years ago. We're going to see them off on their anniversary tonight. And this couple was like in their 80s at this point, or their 80s or their 90s or something. I can't remember how old they were, but they were such a beautiful couple, beautiful family and everything else. We absolutely had a lot of fun with them over the years. And so they were there to make sure that they could see everybody off. And then basically after Mum and Dad left, everybody left, and that was it. And so the next day we found out that what happened when Dad jumped into bed first and found the bed was short sheeted, and so he then remade the bed for Mum, and then Mum comes out of the bathroom and goes, what else have they done? That was when they actually opened their overnight bag and discovered there was confetti. And their mum says, here I am, 11 o'clock at night, waving my knickers out over Oriental Bay, spraying confetti down on whoever was down, because they were like 5th, 6th, or 7th floor in this hotel. And they were well up, and they're out there on this little balcony, shaking out their underwear over the parade, over the Oriental Parade, which is what it was called, Oriental Bay Parade. At 11 o'clock at night. And she said there's people out there walking around and probably wondering why they're getting confetti on top of them. If they'd looked up, they would have seen me shaking out my knickers and my bra and your dad's underpants. And so, yes. What fun stories do you have? I don't even know how. Oh, yeah, that was the milestone anniversary thing. So, yes, that was one of my favorite memories of doing the surprise party for them. And I was like, where did you get our photos from? And why did you do this? And why did you do that? And everything started clicking into place too. My dad kind of thought something was going on because the church list from their house kind of disappeared, and I didn't get it back to the house in time before they got back. And my dad calls me up and he goes, Craig says you have the church list. And I go, why would I have your church list? And he says, is there something that you need assistance with? I went, nope. He had figured out something was going to happen. He just didn't know what it was. He didn't know what was happening or anything else. And so since that surprise, my parents have been away just about every anniversary. They have been away for their wedding anniversary every year. And they have a trip planned next year around the South Island of New Zealand for their 60th wedding anniversary. So, yeah, I'm not interrupting that. I am not going to turn up on it as a surprise. No, nothing. I've already promised my parents I am not planning any surprise or anything. I am not planning anything, nor do I know of anything being planned by somebody else for that. And I said, I promise you that. So I am totally not going to turn up early. I am not going to turn up on their anniversary thing. I've thought about it, but I remember I made a promise to my mum and dad, so I'm going to keep it. I promised them I wouldn't do any surprises on their anniversary. So, yes, I'm going to be a good girl. I'm not going to break my promise to my parents. I have thought about different ways I could surprise them on their trip. I have thought about turning up early in this, but then mum and dad would want to cancel their trip, and I'll be like, no go. So I don't want to do that. Thought about turning up just after as a surprise, just after their anniversary, just after they get back home. And I thought, no, they wouldn't like that. Especially since they've got my mum's a planner. So she's got everything all planned out. down to when I arrive in Wellington. We then do a road trip up to see my brother and then his family, and then on to Auckland to pick up Zeffie, and then drive back home again. So she's already got all that planned out. So we just don't have the dates attached yet. So I don't want to upset her plans. So I've promised I would not do anything as a surprise for their anniversary, for their 60th. Doesn't mean I can't do it for their 61st. Oh, they're probably watching this. I'm not going to do anything for their 65th either. Anyway, that's it. Oh, it's going to be harder for them to get away this time since I'm going to be in the same country as them. So I hope you had a very happy start to your new year and everything else, and working on your resolutions. Maybe you already have them planned. I actually don't do New Year. Well, I kind of do New Year resolutions only because my birthday's in December. I do birthday resolutions. Here's the start of my birthday. What do I want to accomplish before my next birthday? So I kind of do a birthday to birthday resolution rather than a January 1st resolution. So I've kind of got but it sometimes takes me a few weeks to get it organized because I've got to think about these things and work on it and see which lights the sparks and which doesn't, and kind of work on it that way. So I'm still working on mine. I've got most of it's about getting this stuff all cleared up and out of here in time to get down to New Zealand when we need to get to New Zealand, and getting Zeffie back to health so that she's able to travel. So with that, have a super fantastic, sparkling New Year's Day. I hope you've had a great day. What New Year's resolutions could bring you closer to your family history or heritage this year? Think about those. And with that, we are out of here, and we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening, later than normal. Probably be closer to 7 p.m. Pacific time because I have a meeting tomorrow. Our first meeting of our mastermind group is tomorrow night. So, yeah, and we start that at 6 p.m. Pacific. So, no, we start that at 5 p.m. Pacific. Sorry, and we try to keep it to an hour. It doesn't always work. So I'll be on definitely by 7 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. Hey, konera.